Hey folks, it is April in Dallas, and that means your host, Clayton Collins, is suffering through some pretty tough seasonal allergies. But I made it work, and I got a great episode in today with Gil Arbitsman, the Chief Financial Officer at UMortgage. For those of you that aren't familiar with UMortgage, this is Anthony Casa's new mortgage origination shop. And if you aren't familiar with Anthony, I'm surprised because the man is not afraid to be in the headlines. Anthony has made a lot of noise in his efforts of building AIM and now launching UMortgage and recruiting and acquiring some top talent into his organization. This conversation with Gil takes a look at a lot of the operational considerations from building a business and biz dev and marketing that you usually wouldn't have with the chief financial officer. But we get to have this conversation through the lens of the CFO, talk about the finance considerations of growing, acquiring, and recruiting in a tough market, and really get a glimpse into a top-notch finance leader who has a true lens and a true focus on growth. And I'm giving Gil a lot of compliments here, but I really did enjoy the conversation and think he's an incredibly smart finance leader. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Gil Arbitsman.
Hi, this is Sarah Wheeler, Editor-in-Chief of HW Media, and I'm talking to Ed Messman, CEO at Rook Capital, about their shared value investment program. Ed, how is Rook Capital creating new homeowners?
Yeah, the shared value investment that we created helps prospective new homebuyers by adding up to 25% to their down payment in exchange for an equity position in the house. By doing that, you effectively lower the monthly cost of homeownership to a level that's affordable and within their budget.
Thanks, Ed. And listeners can find out more at rook.capital.
So in the beginning, you mentioned the $6 million raise that became U shares. As you think about capital allocation, can you kind of lead us into like how capital, whether it's originated capital that's through cash flow or capital through U shares or other investment capital, how that's being deployed and how it flows into the growth strategy?
Yeah, so I would say the 2022 capital raises, that was spent really on two investments. So the first was building up our corporate infrastructure. So that means our technology and also, building up the corporate support teams that can support our loan originators when they come on. We have a fantastic marketing team. We have a great technology team, and even our HR, compliance, finance teams, I would call them best in class. And that's what our LOs expect when they join UMortgage. And we want to make sure that we deliver on that expectation when they join. You kind of have to build the infrastructure before the LOs come on board, because if the LOs come and you haven't built it yet, they'll go right back out the door. So that was a big investment. The second was on acquisitions. So we acquired in Q4. I would say from the second half of 2022, we were focused, having discussions with a lot of high performing brokerages and LOs around the country. But really Q4, when we saw that market turning, we knew that was time to put our foot on the gas. And we acquired the number one brokerage in Texas, and we acquired the number one brokerage in Ohio. And this is not just like to add LOs to our roster. This is not just to buy their book of business. The focus here is we added two fantastic entrepreneurs who know how to run a business. So we have Tyler Hodgson in Texas. He's helping us focus on our growth. And we have Breon Price in Ohio, who's helping us roll out a national sales development program. So we think the return on investment of bringing those guys on board is really going to be in their contributions to the overall company, more, on top of their individual production.
UMortgage, Anthony, doesn't stay out of the headlines very much. Anthony is not afraid of being front and center. And that comes with positive press and also scuttle and people who have questioned the strategy. So as you frame up this acquisition strategy, how would you categorize the acquisition of a brokerage? Is it more like an acqui-hire or recruiting effort, or are there characteristics which kind of ring true with your background in M&A?
Well, so remember, we're growing at a pretty fast clip. And while there are a lot of mortgage professionals, available to hire, just given the market contraction, we need operations people to support this increase in volume. So it's not just an acqui-hire of the broker
production,
brokerage. right? It's the fantastic team, the 50 team members they have, the 20 team members they have that come on. And what we see in the industry, mergers happen, but then the two companies continue to operate separately and inefficiently. What we do here is we built a roadmap of integration, right? We integrate these new hires into our technology, we integrate them into our culture, and they hit the ground running. So, I would say absolutely we're open and honest about wanting to bring on that entrepreneur, but it's really the team that they built. And sometimes through that integration, we as a company adopt some of the best practices that they've used in their success. So we think it's a real symbiotic relationship, and we'll keep that in mind as we continue to expand. We have another Q2, can't say who or where in the country, but another brokerage that we're acquiring. And
which time zone? Can we get a little?
Let's see. It's either West Coast, Pacific, Mountain, Central, or East, but I can't tell you which.
Oh, okay, man. You're really giving us all the details here. I appreciate it, Gil. All right, Gil. So let's dive in a little bit more on the topic of acquisition. So the first two acquisitions, incredibly important on bringing in operational talent, processes, and leaders into the organization. If you think about acquisition pipeline going forward, I imagine you don't want to keep doing deals and bringing in their process, because like you've built infrastructure. You guys are originating loans. So does the strategy shift over time? And as you think about deals in 2023, whether it's this one that is in that very specific time zone somewhere between East Coast and West Coast, is that some more production focused, or is that another talent play? Like, how do you think about the future of deals?
Yeah. So, I have a lot of respect for our branch managers, but to be completely honest, our branch managers are not trained on developing our people. And as we continue in 2023, I think our focus is going to be on a centralized sales development platform. Because let's be honest, our LOs that come to UMortgage are attracted to leadership. And when I say leadership, I don't mean just a branch manager who, gives somebody a desk and takes a little override on them. I mean, we're talking about helping them structure their day, helping them, like I said before, get from 5 loans to 10 loans. And we think that on a scalable platform with consistency nationwide, we think that's the best approach. So as we scale, we'll look at a greener LO and we'll put them into sort of one vertical that gives them structure and holds them accountable to their daily actions. And maybe 12 months later, they graduate into the next phase where they continue to build local relationships, and then they continue to move up to the next strategy. Now maybe they start coaching other LOs, and that helps them stretch themselves and get better. So we've identified this plan, and we're excited to roll it out.
Interesting. Okay, so we can peel back the onion a little bit here and make the assumption that the next deal is going to have some world-class sales development or new broker training capabilities. Okay, might be able to narrow down a little bit there. But that's interesting though. So like your first two deals were instrumental in helping build some of like the operations process and a certain role of leadership. Now you're looking at, hey, what's another capability that a world-class organization has? And that's people and strategy, and sales training is a big part of that. If we're to like design the perfect origination shop, what else is missing? Like, all right, so we have process, you have finance, you have ops, you're going to have sales strategy. Like, what else like comes down in like the capability set that like might be able to be acquired faster than built organically?
Yeah, I think we're always on the lookout at what our existing pain points are and how we can get better. And then is there someone out there that can complement that? And then we'll consider it. I think another thing that we're laser focused on, you look around the industry, everyone's got that, hey, how are we going to navigate these waters? We just got to survive the next 18 months, right? But in this market, is it only going to be 18 months? I know in past markets, like that dip is around 1 to 2 years. Can you stomach it? Can you fund your business until you can make it back up? After that period, I think all bets are off now with the unprecedented Fed intervention after COVID. The market's kind of broke. Everything's distorted. I'm not sure how long this is going to last. And I think a lot in the industry are pulling back. And I think that's going to benefit those who are continuing to make those investments, continuing to keep their foot on the gas like we are. And like I said, when the dust settles, only the players with scale are going to survive. And we want to be one of those.
Yeah. What's really interesting, our managing editor, James Kleinman, was just talking about this in our HousingWire Daily podcast, is if you go back in the history of mortgage origination in each cycle, it is not the same top 10 players on the top of the HMDA list, cycle in, cycle out. Lenders come, lenders go, lenders disappear, lenders merge, lenders get acquired. And like one of those like examples that we just saw really recently was Home Point, kind of came out of nowhere in the last cycle, built a top 15 origination shop, and now is part of the loan store. And I think that we can make the safe assumption as we look forward past this market trough. When we look at the other side, we cross the chasm of this low inventory, high-ish interest rate environment. There will be 10, 20, 50 new lenders in that top HMDA list. And this is the time that they are built.
Absolutely. Think about 10 years ago. What were you doing 10 years ago?
Oh, me? I was 13. I was an investment banker. I was at Royal Bank of Canada doing media M&A advisory. 15 years ago, it was more interesting than that, though. I was managing a retail bank branch for Citigroup in Manhattan during the financial crisis. That was a fun one.
And I was across the street working at a Big Four accounting firm. And then 10 years ago, I was at an investment bank, and here we are. So if you're not constantly stretching yourself, challenging yourself, evolving, and that's really our focus here at UMortgage. I mean, look around the industry, look at a typical processor. What were they doing 10 years ago? Processing. You look at an underwriter. What were they doing 10 years ago? Underwriting. What we're doing here at UMortgage is we're trying to give them a path, right? When we talk about our growth, that's opportunity for our team members. So if you're a processor today, you're an underwriter today, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 2 years, now you're a business analyst on our technology team, helping to train and develop our future leaders in processing and underwriting. Or with our growth, we'll have opportunities for more team leaders. If you don't want to be doing what you're doing today in 5 years or 10 years, you need to stretch yourself. You need to challenge yourself. And it's our job as the leadership team at UMortgage to provide those opportunities for our team members.
So Gil, talking about how like the industry changes and how we stretch ourselves, let's go a little bit deeper into the funding strategy, which you are leading and part of the team on with UMortgage. And is it safe to kind of put UMortgage in the kind of the non-delegated core bucket right now?
Yeah, we were probably 75% non-delegated. We just got approved by FHA. So we are now full mini core. And we love it. It's best of both worlds. I think we have the lender optionality that the broker space loves. And when one wholesale lender pulls back, another one steps up, and that keeps them honest and accountable. But we also have the support that the retail channel offers, like I mentioned, with our fantastic marketing team and the scalable assets that they produce for our loan originators. I mean, you need to be top of mind in this market, and our LOs can do that because we give them content for their socials. We give them content, for pamphlets, flyers, lunch and learns. Like we build slide decks that they can present to local realtor partners. We give them the roadmap to host events that drive business. So we think that combination of broker pricing, broker lender optionality, but with that support that you get in retail, we think it's the best model for this in future markets.
So this isn't your first role as CFO of a mortgage bank, but I know you're relatively young leader in the grand scheme of like CFOs in mortgage land, but you know enough about the history. So the concept of mini core has been around for a while. How are you seeing like funding strategies and capital strategies change in the mortgage ecosystem, or are they not changing? Is it just like more of the same with new players, like, cycle in, cycle out?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say in previous markets, I would say, there's good times to be a mini correspondent and other times not. I think right now, I'm glad that we are. I mean, there's
what are the dynamics that make it a good time or a bad time?
I would say the margin compression today. I would not want to be a wholesale lender.
Yeah.
I mean, we have infrastructure, especially these legacy lenders. And this is what happened at Home Point. I mean, you invest in this infrastructure, and in the normal market, there's ebbs and flows, and you can kind of float that. But now, with uncertainty as to how long this down market is going to last, I think a lot of lenders are looking themselves in the mirror and saying, do we have the patience and do we have the guts to wait this one out, or are we better off just having an exit?
We came into 2023 with a lot of industry, analysts and talking heads, probably myself included, talking about big consolidation wave in 2023. And, that some of that consolidation is coming to fruition, and we're seeing some of those deals come together. But as you, let's kind of exit out of UMortgage mindset for a second and think about like kind of the broader industry. What do you anticipate in Q2 and the rest of this year on the M&A front? Has the year played out differently than you anticipated? Kind of broader M&A talk.
I think we're going to see players with large market share continue to increase their market share. And we can see that with UWM, the perfect example with this 1% down conventional product. That's just them saying, we're in it for the long haul. We want more market share, and this is how we're going to do it. I mean, that's going to cost them tens, if not hundreds of $millions in cash, but they have a long-term focus. And do their competitors have like I said, do they have the guts and do they have the bankroll, to make that investment? And I don't know if that's the case. So I think, like I said, scale is going to win, and when the dust settles. And I think if you're taking a step back today, you won't be around tomorrow.